Welcome to another episode where we delve into the fascinating and often terrifying world of magical creatures. Since the dawn of storytelling, humans have been captivated by these enigmatic beings. We've filled our legends with fairies, dragons, unicorns, and a myriad of otherworldly entities. But what if these enchanting figures had a darker side, a terrifying truth hidden beneath their shimmering scales and gossamer wings? Fairy tales are our first introduction to the world of magic. They paint a picture of wonder and enchantment, but they often gloss over the sinister potential of these creatures. Take the wolf in Little Red Riding Hood, for example. He isn't just a hungry animal, he's a predator, lurking in the shadows, waiting to devour the innocent. The witch in Hansel and Gretel isn't just a quirky old woman, she's a child-eating monster, embodying the ultimate fear of being preyed upon by those who seem harmless. Ancient mythology is replete with monstrous creatures that serve as both entertainment and warnings. Medusa, with her venomous hair, is a prime example. She wasn't merely a woman with snakes for hair, she was a gorgon, a creature so horrifying that her gaze could turn a man to stone. Her story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of female rage and power, a reflection of societal fears about women who defy norms. The Minotaur, lurking in the labyrinth, is another terrifying figure from mythology. Half man, half bull, he represents the monstrous consequences of human folly and hubris. The labyrinth itself is a symbol of the complex and often perilous journey of life, where one wrong turn can lead to doom. Then there's the Hydra, a serpentine water monster with multiple heads. For every head cut off, two more would grow back in its place. This creature wasn't just a fantastical beast, it was a metaphor for the seemingly insurmountable challenges and evils that humanity faces. The Hydra's story teaches us about resilience and the need for strategic thinking in overcoming adversity. Even the seemingly benevolent creatures of folklore can have a sinister side. Fairies, often depicted as playful and mischievous, were once feared as capricious beings who could steal children and lead travelers astray. In Celtic folklore, the changeling myth tells of fairies swapping human babies with their own. These changelings were often sickly and strange, a dark explanation for infant mortality and childhood illnesses. The world of magical creatures is not always bright and whimsical. It can also be dark and terrifying. Vampires, for instance, are creatures of the night that prey on our fear of death and the unknown. The legend of Dracula, inspired by the real-life Vlad the Impaler, taps into our primal fears of blood, death, and the undead. Vampires are not just monsters, they are a reflection of our anxieties about mortality and the corrupting influence of power. Werewolves, too, embody the fear of losing control and succumbing to our basest instincts. The transformation from human to beast is a metaphor for the duality of human nature, the constant struggle between our civilized selves and our animalistic urges. The full moon, a symbol of change and madness, triggers this terrifying metamorphosis, reminding us of the thin line between sanity and insanity. Even in modern fantasy, we continue to explore the darker side of magical creatures. Take the Dementors in Harry Potter, for example. These soul-sucking entities feed on human happiness, leaving their victims in a state of despair. They serve as a powerful metaphor for depression and the draining effect of negative emotions. The presence of Dementors in the story adds a layer of psychological horror, making us confront our own fears and vulnerabilities. Similarly, the White Walkers in Game of Thrones are a chilling reminder that the world of magic is not always a safe haven. These undead creatures, with their icy blue eyes and relentless pursuit of the living, symbolize the inevitability of death and the existential dread that comes with it. The Night King, their leader, represents the ultimate antagonist, a force of nature that cannot be reasoned with or defeated easily. But perhaps the most terrifying thing about magical creatures is not their power or their malevolence, but their ability to tap into our deepest fears and desires. They are a reflection of our own shadow selves, a reminder that even in the most enchanting of worlds, darkness always lurks. The allure of the forbidden, the thrill of the unknown, and the fear of the uncontrollable are all embodied in these creatures. Consider the story of the sirens from Greek mythology. These enchanting beings lured sailors to their doom with their irresistible songs. The sirens represent the dangers of temptation and the destructive power of unchecked desire. Their beauty and allure mask a deadly intent, a reminder that not everything that glitters is gold. In Japanese folklore, the eerie are vengeful spirits that haunt the living. These ghosts are often the souls of those who died with unresolved grievances or violent deaths. The eerie serve as a stark reminder of the consequences of injustice and the lingering power of unresolved emotions. Their presence in stories highlights the importance of closure and the dangers of letting anger and sorrow fester. Even the majestic dragon, a symbol of power and wisdom in many cultures, has a dark side. In Western mythology, dragons are often depicted as greedy, treasure-hoarding beasts that must be slain by heroes. These dragons represent the destructive nature of greed and the hero's journey to overcome it. The battle with the dragon is a metaphor for the internal struggle against our own vices and the quest for self-improvement. In contrast, Eastern dragons are seen as benevolent and wise, but they too can be fearsome when angered. The dual nature of dragons in different cultures reflects the complexity of power and the fine line between benevolence and tyranny. Dragons remind us that with great power comes great responsibility, and the misuse of power can lead to dire consequences. The unicorn, often seen as a symbol of purity and grace, also has a darker side in some legends. In medieval times, it was believed that only a virgin could tame a unicorn, and the creature's horn was said to have magical properties that could purify poisoned water and heal sickness. However, this purity and grace also made the unicorn a target for hunters who sought to exploit its magical properties. The unicorn story is a cautionary tale about the exploitation of innocence and the loss of purity in a corrupt world. The darker side of magical creatures serves as a powerful reminder that the world is full of complexities and dualities. These creatures are not just figments of our imagination, they are reflections of our deepest fears, desires, and moral dilemmas. They challenge us to confront the darker aspects of our nature and the world around us. In literature and film, the exploration of these darker themes continues to captivate audiences. Guillermo del Toro's Pan's Labyrinth is a prime example of how magical creatures can be used to explore complex and dark themes. The faun in the story, while seemingly a guide, has an ambiguous nature that leaves the protagonist and the audience questioning his true intentions. The film blends the fantastical with the horrific, creating a narrative that is both enchanting and deeply unsettling. Similarly, Neil Gaiman's Coraline features the Other Mother, a sinister doppelganger who lures the protagonist into an alternate world. The Other Mother's seemingly perfect world hides a dark secret, reflecting the dangers of escapism and the importance of facing reality. The story uses the concept of a magical creature to explore themes of identity, family, and the courage to confront one's fears. In conclusion, the dark side of magical creatures is a rich and complex aspect of storytelling that continues to resonate with us. These creatures, whether they are ancient myths or modern fantasies, serve as powerful symbols of our deepest fears and desires. They remind us that even in the most enchanting of worlds, darkness always lurks, and it is through confronting this darkness that we find true understanding and growth. So, the next time you encounter a magical creature in a story, remember to look beyond its enchanting exterior. Consider the darker truths it may represent and the lessons it has to offer. Because in the end, the most compelling stories are those that challenge us to confront the shadows within ourselves and the world around us. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the dark side of magical creatures. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing to the channel for more explorations into the fascinating and often terrifying world of myths, legends, and folklore. Feel free to share your thoughts and experiences with magical creatures in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the shadows.